All right, so like what I like to do, especially on aluminum, is I'll tack it at one end, and it's already trimmed, and you can see how it's a close gap, but there's still a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of bend this under like that to where I can get it overlap, and I'm just gonna lightly clamp it there on the bottom. So then what I'll do is I'll come in here and I can hammer and dolly this out and then tack it, and then I'll unclamp it, let it relax, and I'll hammer and dolly it, clamp it, or unclamp it, let it relax, and just work my way down. So I'll probably speed the video up during this part. So I've got two tacks here, and you can see that now it's wanting to stay overlapped. So to correct that, because it's even overlapping up here, what I'll do is I'm going to hammer that tack out just a little bit, because as the weld cools, it's contracting, and that's what's pulling it together there. So we'll just lightly hammer and dolly that, and you can see it's bringing it out just a little bit at a time. You can do it that way. So you're trying to get it to contract to where it overlaps, and then you slightly hammer and dolly it out to get a nice tight gap, and then I'll clamp it down here again and come back. Make sure our panels are nice and flush. And you can see that gap is nice and tight. All welded and lightly hammered and dollied out. That needs a little bit more work before I weld it, just to get it back into its proper shape. This is one reason why you never want to tack it on both ends and then work your way into the middle. Ideally, you want to work from one end of the panel to the other, or if that's not really much of an option, you can start in the middle and work one way over and the other way out. you're going to get a little bit of distortion that way. But you want to be able to have it tacked on this side and allow the seam to open and close, and you adjust it as you need as you go through. So if you tack it on both ends and then work your way in, you're going to end up with a puckered spot in the middle because the material is moving and it's a lot harder to get it back flat.